I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda.
And
this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. Hey there, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. It's November, and every November, the internet loses its mind and small business owners lose their profit margin. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between reacting to Black Friday and actually having a real strategy behind it.
Yeah, and this isn't just for the US. Obviously, y'all know by now, I live in Southeast Asia, and they have Black Friday specials already going now. And there's this whole, remember the good old days, Amanda, when Black Friday was actually a Friday?
Oh, yeah. It was crazy. It was line up outside the doors, camping outside, like mass brawls in the stores. If you wanted the sale, you had to show up in person. Yes, I remember the good old days.
Yeah, that was like total boxing and elbows and using our
hiding stuff. I mean, I used to work in retail, so we would have people come in like the week before and stash things behind mannequins and like under display cases. And we're like, this is insane. Absolutely insane. The kind of things people would do to just catch those sales and not have to show up at 3 a.m. and camp outside in the cold.
That many times anyway for the damn doll my kid wanted. Anywho, so let's just talk about reaction first. I love that you say reaction into strategy. So there's a difference between reacting and responding. Reaction it's in response up. So it's after the fact, like you're just essentially firefighting. You're just guessing. You're just kind of like shooting everywhere. But when you can look at your sales cycle, and this technically Black Friday is just another sales cycle. It's just, there's a lot of extra hype that you can utilize if you want to be able to push your sales forward, push you more forward, versus when you have a strategy, you can be proactive. You can be responding versus reacting, and actually utilizing your energy, your time, your resources to increase that ROI and bottom line. Like, I mean, even ROI sometimes isn't necessarily as much as we want to increase our bottom line. So that's really the difference. And having a strategy is just saying, okay, here's what I want to hit. Here's what I have. And we'll kind of go through these parts and what do I need to do in order to hit some of these markers that I want?
Absolutely. I mean, reaction is really about chasing sales, whereas strategy is creating that momentum behind it. And like, I think of a couple of recent conversations I've had with some business owners, not my clients, because my clients, I was talking about Black Friday back in June. It was ridiculous. And the clients or the prospects I've been talking to, they're absolutely in reaction mode before it's even begun. They're creating offers for Black Friday the week of Thanksgiving. They're discounting just because everybody else is discounting. And they're like, oh, I have to slash my prices by 50%. Isn't that what everybody does? Everybody slashes by 50%. I'm like, that's not a sustainable model. And that's not what you should be going off of. And they're emailing. Exactly. And they're emailing that one last chance, but there's no plan. There's no strategy. It's just like, it's like an afterthought. It's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to have a sale this week. It's Black Friday. Those are signs that you're in reaction mode. It's kind of like panic marketing. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to have a sale. Everybody's having a sale. I have to do something. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to slash prices. I'm going to burn myself out this week. And that's what we're trying to avoid when we're really putting in the work to strategize around Black Friday. Because a trained monkey can just start slashing prices, but don't want to be monkeys. We want to be successful business owners.
Yeah. Listen, you can build it. Doesn't mean that they're going to come either. And like, that is the strategy behind the Black Friday as well. It's utilizing the momentum, like Amanda said. And another thing, and I know we'll kind of dive a little bit deeper and then we'll be a bit more organized with our thoughts. I think we're so excited about this topic. As per usual, and kind of jumping around. But Black Friday also, or during the holiday season, it is the opportunity to play on people's emotions, and not necessarily in a manipulative way, but manipulative and being and manipulation isn't necessarily a bad thing unless you're using it for a bad thing. So marketing is that they're convincing you to purchase something. It's a form of guiding or manipulation. During this time, you can lean into the emotional triggers of your potential prospects. Now, depending on what your potential prospects or your buyers are typically, that's how you find what maybe their emotional triggers are to be able to, and that goes with your core values, your vision, your mission, kind of the core culture of your company. And if you haven't done an exercise to understand what your buyers' emotional triggers are at all times, then you should, because this is something you can use all the time. But during the holiday season is an opportunity to really play into it more, I guess is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. This is the season where you'll see all the sentimental ads, all the connect with family and hope and love. And I mean, Coca-Cola does it,
M&M.
Folgers does it, everybody does it.
Love it.
I mean, there's a strategy behind it. There's a reason why everybody does it. It's not just this fear of missing out, FOMO mentality where like jump on the bandwagon. There's actual psychological reasoning behind that because this is a season where people lean a bit more into the emotional connections.
It's nostalgia.
It's nostalgia. It's
Yeah.
part of the season. It's the, the reason for the season. You can have whatever you want with that, but there is an
Hold
actual
on, time out.
psychological.
Reason for the season. Isn't that a tagline of somebody's?
I'm sure it is. Well, I mean,
Because I thought you
no,
were
I mean,
supposed to know that.
a lot of people use the reason for the season as the more religious reason for the season, but regardless of your religion or political backgrounds or whatever, the psychological reason is that people still feel a connection during the holidays. They still feel, and that's why there's so much depression during the holidays. There are a lot of emotions that happen during the holidays. So why not use that to the advantage? Not to manipulate, but to tap into where people are psychologically. That's that they're in a buying season and they're in a nostalgic season. So you're going to see, if you haven't seen it already, a lot of ads that are following that pattern of emotional connection, family, of friends, of community, of connection. That is a common theme for a reason.
Absolutely. Okay. So get into strategy, not reaction. Know what your emotional triggers are for your potential buyers and or your buyers. Look at your buyers now. The next thing we would say is audit your offers. Like you don't, a lot of times, and Amanda and I have had many conversations around this. A lot of times people think that they have to recreate the wheel in order to have something special to sell. No, you don't. You don't have to have the new Furby toy that's coming out. Like, was it Furby? Furby?
Labubu?
Well, that I'm talking about our generation for
Oh, yeah, no, the Furby, yeah, or the
yeah, or Cabbage Patch Kids. Anyway, Labubu would be it, and that's big here in Thailand. Anywho, but look at your offers. You don't have to create something new. What do you have, right? Look at what your current suite is, analyze it, and which ones are converting, which ones do you need to retire? Maybe the ones that you need to retire. I mean, this is an opportunity to do last chance. We're not going to do this anymore. If it's a service base, if it's a product base, that's a little bit different. And we'll get into that. Amanda knows that a lot more than I do. And then which one's still converting? Can you bundle that, right? So you don't have to create something new. You look at what you have. Not everything deserves a sale, right? Some might need a funeral, but you try to really look at it in a holistic way and say, okay, what's my best converter? By the way, if it's your best converter, don't slash the prices on that. Add value and sell it at least that's my opinion. Amanda may differ, but add value. But those that you kind of want to get rid of, go ahead and slash the prices. Or what ones don't take as much time on the back end or cost you as much. Obviously, when there's a hard cost, you have to take that into consideration, but audit your offers, don't recreate the wheel.
And along with auditing your offers, we want to understand what your real goal is behind your sale, because a lot of times Black Friday, not a lot of times, it really should not be a one-off thing. It's feeding your pipeline. You're trying to get people in for the long game because ultimately it is easier to keep a client than it is to create new ones all over and over again. So what is your real goal? Are you trying to get more cash flow? Are you trying to slash and burn because you need the cash flow for a large purchase, or just you really need the cash flow in your business? Are you looking for visibility? Are you trying to get client retention? Are you trying to get new clients? What's the profit margin per offer? Because when it comes to your offers, like as Lynn said, sometimes you need to slash and burn to get rid of things, but you don't want to be undercutting so much that you're cutting into the actual cost of the item. So if it's a digital product, you could probably slash that because there aren't really any hard costs. But if it's a physical piece of like a t-shirt or a book or something that actually has a hard cost, if you slash it too far, you're eating into your profit margin, or eating away completely so you don't have any profit margin and you're losing money on it. But again, maybe the point is to lose money. Like maybe you've already beaten that dead horse and you're like, I need to get rid of these t-shirts. They've been on the shelves for 6 years now. It's time. Like, so again, what's your goal behind it? Like, what is the goal and what is the next goal? So what's the promo leading in? What's the next offer that you're looking at? So we don't want to always think like this is only Friday blinders. What's the next after Black Friday? There's always got to be something that you're going into next, because again, we're trying to feed our pipeline, not have a one and done scenario.
Absolutely. It's not a one-stop shop. And you've heard Amanda and I talk about this all the time. It is a client or prospecting journey, a customer's journey. And so you're always looking at that. That never stops. It's always flowing. It's a river. It's not a pond. It's not stagnant. So you always have to be looking at that. And I love that. And an idea too is like with Amanda use the t-shirt. If you need to get rid of that stock, for example, if it's a physical product and you need to get rid of that stock, instead of slashing it beyond what your cost was, why don't you, when they buy your most converting item, they get the free t-shirt. So you're still making money, right? So you're not, because that t-shirt, it's offset into, it's just an added value into your biggest product or your most converting product. And guess what? A lot of times people actually raise their prices on their most converting item, merchandise and or service during the holidays. They actually don't slash it. They bundle it with other things and they show like all this together would be $10,000, but you get it for just $9.99 or whatever it is. So you can do this in a service-based and a product-based kind of thing. So think about that. Is that, can that particular product that you're trying to give a funeral to, can you just like throw it in with something else to value, right? If you have stock or if you already have the resources to just bulk that up. So, and absolutely starting with your goals, super, super big. I loved all the examples that you gave. I think that it is really smart also to look around and see like, what is your capacity during this time? Because our own capacity during the holiday season, other people's attention spans and capacity shrink. So why doesn't ours, right? It most likely does. So what do you have in your energy resources to be able to do what you need to do? And if you need to make that money, then that energy, that time, those resources need to be subtracted for something else. And so maybe you're not going to all the holiday parties, or maybe you're not going out and drinking with your friends on the weekends. Maybe you're putting aside X amount of time in order to complete this, because it's not going to magically appear. There's not some magic wand that you can wave and it's automatically going to be different for you. You have to also inventory your energy, be really smart about it, because the last thing you want to do is to have a failure, because then you're setting yourself up with a ding in your sales cycle or that client journey, that the more dings that you have, the more resistance energetically you have to keeping your clients, upselling your clients, and bringing on new clients. And it's like hit after hit after hit after hit. And subconsciously that is building. So definitely inventory your own energy. Don't overcommit. What can you do and what's a reasonable, stretchy, but you can commit to it timeline and Black Friday.
I love that you talked about energy and execution, because I think one of the things that I hear a lot of people saying, and you hear it all the time too, I'm sure, is it's a little too early to plan for Black Friday. I mean, right now we're in November, so at this point, it's not too early to be planning for Black Friday. However, I often feel like it's the earlier you start, the more you can protect your energy and the more you can protect that execution. Because if you can do things ahead of the chaos, if you can plan your automations and your emails and your social posts earlier, then it's a lot less stressful. I mean, even if you have to get on social media every day to respond to people, it's one less thing to have to post or have to think about a caption or what's my post going to be today. Prepping your team, yourself for that, the earlier you can start in a lot of ways, knowing your capacity. Like if you know it's going to be a tough month for you, the more you can get ahead of it, the more you can actually enjoy your time, because we talk about it all the time that if you can't step away from your business, then you haven't created this amazing freedom business. You've created a job for yourself. So the more you can protect that energy by planning ahead and by automating, systemizing, handing off, delegating things, preparing your team in a way that they're actually going to be able to function properly, that's going to set you up for success in your holiday chaos and the sales chaos more than even just having your ideas written down on paper. I mean, we want to really think about execution earlier. And you can apply this to absolutely any sales cycle. It doesn't have to be just Black Friday, but moving forward
100%.
to all sales cycles that you plan for the rest of your business's life. If you can think about it a little bit earlier, plan a little bit further ahead, then you can stretch out your bandwidth a bit more and you'll have more capacity because you've planned ahead and automated and delegated away the things that you didn't really need to be involved in.
100%. Actually, I just saw it's too late for me to attend, but Cody Sanchez has a Delegate Automate workshop. We love Cody Sanchez and like everything that she talks about. But agree with you 100%. I was totally just made a note about that is that, listen, by the time you're listening to this, it's November, but it's Black Friday in a week or two. So definitely bookmark this for next year so that way you can revisit it. But this is an opportunity for you to set yourself up for January, right? January is right around the corner. And so you want to make sure that it's baby steps. You're just implementing little steps at a time. And it will hands down help you 100%. Another thing too that came up when you were talking, and now granted, Amanda and I do deal, most of our clients are service-based, the majority. We do have some clients, obviously our service-based clients is their primary. They might have secondary that are products like Amanda and I. We have books, right? We have journals, we have different things, but our primary is a service-based. Most of our clients are. So I'm going to give you one other service-based, but this could also be for products is if you have a product, and I'm actually thinking of one client in particular that we're working with. If you have a product, but it's not quite finished or it's still in conception mode, guess what? Black Friday is the best time to pre-sell and it will start in January. Pre-sell it and it starts in January. Or even if it's the book is still being made or the product itself is still being created, pre-sell it and they get it X amount of months after. They get it right before Christmas if you can do it before Christmas, if that's something that is promised or needed. And I know we walk clients through this all the time, and not just for Black Friday, but for all over. But that whole pre-selling things instead of feeling like you have to have it already done is a good tip as well.
Yeah. The last thing I really want to talk about is this perception that if you don't have all the marketing money, if you don't have the big store dollars, that you can't really have an impact on Black Friday. I hear a lot of people saying that, how can I compete with Target's ads? How can I compete? Like, well, you're not competing with Target. You're not competing with Walmart. You're not competing with Lazada. Like, you're not competing with huge, giant billion-dollar companies. You are just trying to sell to your existing people. You are trying to have an impact to your email list. That's why it's important to have one. You can have a big impact on Black Friday and not have it be this huge blowout sale. I'm going to make $100 million on Black Friday weekend. That's not really what Black Friday is about from a small business perspective. A lot of times when you're in a small business world, you project and you think like, oh, if I were a big business, I would do it this way. You can't compete on that volume. You can't compete on the amount of advertising dollars. So stop thinking that you have to, because you don't. If you're completely against Black Friday and everything in your soul says, no, I don't want to do a Black Friday, then fine, do a gratitude week and just
Then
sell
why
out
are
of
you
thanking
listening to
people.
this podcast?
It's true. But I mean, it's like you and I don't like the concept of New Year's resolutions. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I don't sell with my fitness companies, that doesn't mean I don't sell the concept of New Year's resolutions just because I don't believe in them. I mean, it's really, again, it's knowing what your client wants, not necessarily how you feel about it. It's what does your client expect? What is your client hoping for? How can you capitalize on, again, the psychology of it and the season and the FOMO that happens this time of year? But you're not setting yourself up to act like a multi-billion dollar company unless you are one. You don't have to compete with Amazon. Do your own thing, be your own business. You are not competing. That's not your competitor. And if that's your competitor, then I hope you have Amazon dollars because for sure you can compete against them, but it's got to be a different mentality. And it can't be an ad for ad dollar spend because I'm telling you, it's a pretty big buck. So if that's where you are, I'm very excited for you. And you still have to have realistic goals and realistic expectations of what your business should be doing.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, we gave you a bunch of different tips. These are all tips that you can absolutely utilize any time of the year. However, we're talking about this on Black Friday because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to lean into more of the emotional triggers. It's an opportunity to allow the frenzy of purchasing that happens. I mean, we didn't use the statistic. I know we talked about this in another podcast, I think that we talked about last year, but I can't remember the percentage, but the majority of purchases happen in these months. So do you remember the percentage? I don't
I
remember.
don't remember, but it
It
was
was
like
ridiculous.
over 70%. It was like a
Yeah,
ridiculously, and it was billions of dollars made this weekend.
correct. I mean, why don't you want a piece of that pie? Why don't you want to utilize the collective energy? And also, it's a good habit to have. And again, if you don't want to do it on Black Friday or if it's too late, that's fine. Maybe next year, but utilizing one of my things has always been I love to see the opportunity. I love it. And Black Friday is an opportunity. Now, do you have to utilize everything that we talked about just on Black Friday? No. Amanda and I are not one use tool kind of people. We want to give you real life, real things that you can use over and over and over and over and over again. The start, stop is not productive. It's not effective. It's not efficient. And so utilizing what you just heard today in your 2026 sales cycles, client relation journey, all of the above, because all of these work within that will absolutely put you further along than what you were this year. And I do want to just mention one last thing before I turn back over to you, because you said something that I think I don't want people to not hear is that most of the time in a push, in any type of sales push, it is, yes, she said in the beginning, what are you doing this for? To gain new followers, to build customer retention, to convert more, to add more sales, whatever. But the majority of your activities, you're not gaining hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new prospects and clients at a time unless you have big marketing spend, like she said. You're actually continuing to build the know, like, trust, the relationship, that authority with your current group, not just the clients, but the people who know you. Think of it as like concentric circles, and they just kind of keep getting closer and closer in and in and in to that concentric circle. So that's why we talk about it, that it's a journey. It's not a one-time thing. So don't fool yourself that you're going to have like a cajillion dollars, like she said, in sales. The whole concept, if you can think about it, is just moving people closer into that circle. And the more that you follow these things that we're talking about, you continue to move those people into the close. So that way you keep clients longer, you have easier conversions typically, you have bigger spends, and you get new clients as well. Okay.
Absolutely. So one question I want to leave the audience with before you run your sale, your next sale, it doesn't have to be Black Friday, but before you run your next sale, ask yourself, does this offer build long-term growth, or is it more of a short-term dopamine hit for your business? Neither is wrong, but ask yourself that as you're creating your sales before you run a sale, is it long-term growth or short-term dopamine?
You need a mix of both, really.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
100%. That's a great question.
Ooh, and I just had this conversation with a client yesterday. Talk about your sale. It's not too much. Send the email, send the text, talk about your sale. It can't be one mention at the beginning of November and expect them to just magically appear on Black Friday for your sale. Talk about the sale. talk about the sale.
100%.
Please.
Love it. Love it. All right. So again, bookmark this. So that way when you're creating your sales cycles and you're looking at your client journey, which should be a few times a year, unless you're always releasing new products, like you should be doing this often. But if it's too late for you to kind of revisit your Black Friday stuff, definitely use this for your 2026 kind of map and also next year. Share this with somebody who needs to hear this message as well, because we know some people who need to hear exactly what we were just talking about. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We love our subscribers, and let us know if there's any topic that you feel like you would like to hear us talk about.
All right. Until next time.
Get after it. Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to the pursuitofbadasserie.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
let's get after it.